Um, Chuck and Marion Buse. I'm a marketing director for a local company. My wife is an artist, and we had downsized after our youngest spent her last summer at home in college. The house that we lived in previously, we weren't selling. We were looking to rent it for a couple of years. And originally we thought about doing it ourselves, but the more we looked into things, the more difficult that obviously was. So we wanted somebody that was a professional at doing it. I originally looked on Angie's list as a kind of objective evaluation of the property management companies out there, selected Real Property Management as the first company that we interviewed. And after looking at everything that Real Property Management had online, how thorough their process was, and talking to Ross, who came out and actually looked at the property and explained all of the different marketing programs that Real Property Management used to market the house, their philosophy on what kind of tenants they were looking for, and all the different things that they did to actively manage the property and make it a better experience. Even though I'm well known for maybe over interviewing for things and researching it a little too much, after seeing everything Real Property Management had to offer, I didn't even bother calling anybody else and was ready to sign the contract with you guys.
Can you give us an example of maybe how you maybe have over interviewed in the past?
Well, typically when I'll do something, I'll pick 6 companies, research them, select 3 to interview. Just as an example, when we had our old house painted, I actually drew up bid specs for the painting job, actually interviewed 8 companies, got quotes from 3, and a friend of mine who I showed the bid specs to, who was in the painting business, told me most of the painters wouldn't even want to bid on the job because the bid specs were so specific and complicated. So I'm very picky about who I choose. When I came home and told my wife that I had actually selected the first company that I talked to, she asked me if I was feeling well, because that was very not typical for me.
No, not at all. I thought he might have just had a little spell or something, because he never does that. He never ever chooses right off the bat. But he was so incredibly impressed with the marketing plan and everything that you offered at Real Properties. He was just incredibly impressed, and when he's impressed, that's impressive.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Would you recommend Real Property to others?
Absolutely.
Every day.
Without question. After going through the process, signing a contract with you guys, seeing everything that you do, all the different things you do in the background that people don't even see, I would recommend you guys without hesitation.
Yeah.
And we'll put that on Angie's list.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, Ross came in and videotaped the house. I just was really impressed with that, because as a woman, I remember one house that we rented early in our marriage, and I was expecting our 4th child, and he rented it, and it didn't have a real kitchen. No stove. We have 4 kids. Wow, honey. So a wife wants to see, what's going on in the house that she's about to rent, and I was impressed that he was going to videotape the house, and that to me says more women are going to pay attention that want to rent this and say, oh, that looks good, I'll take a look at that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Is there anything else that you guys would like to add?
No, originally we talked about renting it ourselves, but when we looked at how complex that could be, dealing with tenants, everything, plus I travel a lot, we just felt like contracting with a professional property management company was really the smart move. And once we started looking at companies and researching companies, you guys stood head and shoulders above everybody else. And once we actually dealt with you guys face to face, it was an immediate decision. It was really easy.
Yeah, I was impressed, particularly he was out of town a couple of times, and I needed to ask Ross a question. Answered the phone even, I think maybe I called at 7:30 hoping I would get his email or his answering machine, and answered the phone, answered my question. That's impressive when you can call a company or a person that's dealing with you and they answer your question right away. So that was really impressive for me.
Yeah, I had the same experience. Called him a couple of times after hours, expecting to get his voicemail, and he answered the phone.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah,
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it.
yeah. It was
Happy to
a
do it.
great experience. Thank you.
You guys made it easy.
Thank you.